What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. We're checking out another Courtney Ryan video, so let's get right to it. You guys seem to be really liking the reaction videos. I have filmed, I think I said this in my last video, I have filmed 4 original videos, OG content stuff, so for the people who want that still, that is coming. What else? That's pretty much it. So let's keep it going. This one is called Signs She's Seeing Other People. Now, the reason why I wanted to cover this video, and I like covering Courtney. I'm fairly new to her work. So I want to see more. That's really what it is. And now that I'm covering more coaches, I'm seeing other perspectives, right? And there are things that they are saying in their way that I'm adding to my toolbox, right? And it's really cool. It's awesome to see different perspectives because I never really watch other coaches. Like you guys, I know many of you are consumers of content and not producers of content. And so you don't see what it's like to produce, especially when you have you get a lot of views. So when you get that, a lot of people come to you asking the same questions, and you kind of just get stuck in your own way of answering certain things a certain way. And I really wanted to have different perspectives as well, and just see what other coaches had to say. So, and plus, guys, I got that question. What do you think about this person? What do you think about that person? Can you do a review of this person? Can you do a review of that person? I got that like almost every week. What do you think about Coach Lee or Craig Kenneth and Coach Corey Wayne and whatever, right? So here it is, right? I know like it's been very heavy on the channel lately, but I enjoy it and you guys seem to be enjoying it, so let's keep it up.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be going over signs.
By the way, it is sped up, okay? So it's at 1.3 times speed. 1.25, 1.3 seems to be a good spot. It gets through the information quicker, keeps the videos shorter to help with you guys.
That she might be seeing someone else. You definitely don't want to ignore these. I think sometimes when we're in the beginning talking stages, especially now in today's day and age where everyone seems to be dating multiple people, not everyone, of course, that's me being a little bit dramatic, but sometimes it does feel like you're competing with so many different people in the very beginning stages of talking to someone new, right? So how do you tell if you're not the only egg in the basket? How do you tell if she's seeing other people? These are the signs you're going to want to look out for. These signs could mean that she is seeing other people, and again, you're not the only person in her life. So let's get started. Number 1, you don't see her. Maybe you used to see her more often and now you don't see her at all. Maybe she's ghosting you. Maybe she has never actually hung out with you and she's just texting you or saying that she wants to hang out with you but isn't actually hanging out with you. There are a bunch of different circumstances and situations that fall under this category here, but the moral of the story is you're not seeing her. Even if you're long distance, maybe this means you're not FaceTiming her or talking to her that much. She might be keeping her schedule open for other people. That could be the reason why you aren't seeing her as much as maybe you used to. Maybe she has started talking to other people and she's going out with them instead of you. Again, I really created this video here for the beginning stages of a relationship. These don't really work as much for if you've been seeing someone for a long time or you're in a relationship with someone and you think they're cheating. I've done a whole video on signs that she's cheating, but this one is like when you aren't official yet, when you aren't exclusive, and you're just in those beginning stages of getting to know someone. Maybe you guys.
This is good for you guys that are starting to get back out there and you're considering getting back out there, because I know many of you do watch this kind of content because you want help getting an ex back. But like honestly, a lot of the times people wait far too long than they should, and they don't heal. Now, the most important thing you guys can do is heal from your breakup before you start dating somebody new and start going back out there. You're going to go back out there with a much better perspective, because think about how anybody who's emotional, can they think logically? Like really? No. They say things that are completely wrong or false or out of line. And so that's you guys a lot of the time, right? And that's why I tell you guys to read. I do emphasize that to my students a lot. Read, because awareness is the first step to change. If you don't know or you're not aware of certain emotions that you are carrying, fears, grief, anxiety, whatever it is, you're not going to ever fix a problem. Like imagine having something wrong with you, right? And people are going to be like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with you." Yeah, sometimes there is. Like you have to face facts sometimes. There was a lot of shit wrong with me, guys. I'm not fucking perfect. Not even close, right? But when, like, okay, to be transparent with you, my issue growing up, right, and with women was my mom left when I was young. So I had issues with women, my view of women was skewed because I didn't trust them. I thought that I was going to be abandoned by women. So I was an asshole towards women. I never had a problem attracting girls. I was always good at talking to them when I didn't love them, right? And then I got my heart broken by the first girl that I had because I was treating her the wrong way from the beginning. If I treated her better, and then I think everything would have went a lot more smooth. But that was my first relationship too. I was young. I was like 15 to 19 years old, right? So again, going into that, it's like there was so much I had to learn and so much I had to overcome and try to get through. And dude, if I was to go into a relationship emotional after that, I would have just destroyed the next girl that I was with, right? She would have been like, what is wrong with this guy? So there are people out there that are going to try to pander to you and try to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you. And I'm trying to tell you that there may be something wrong with you, but you have the power to fix it. Okay? Love doesn't get the job done in terms of fixing things. Okay? Like, it does in the end when when you have a good place to, when you have a good center, okay? When you have a solid place to come from to give to someone else, right? But in terms of fixing things, you have to go at your problems like analytically and logically and go, okay, I have this issue. So my issue was I was a bit of a dick. So what ended up happening was when I got my heart broke, I turned into a nice guy. I was too nice. So I went from this spectrum to this spectrum. I went too far over here. And women they think that they know, but they want someone in the middle where they don't want to be able to walk all over you. But if you're too nice, they'll start testing you. So they'll start, swaying on this spectrum. Pretend there's a spectrum here, right? So if you're too much of a dick, they won't want to be around you because they don't, you're too fucking negative. But if you're too nice, you're also too weak. So there's sort of this middle ground, but it's almost impossible to walk that. So it's when you're in a relationship, the guy is going to sort of do this, okay? And then she's gonna test you when you're over here too much. And then she's going to show you because, maybe you're being too rigid when you're over here. See, reading her, she's basically a mirror of what's going on and how you're coming towards her. So that's what I had to learn. Okay. Some of you guys you're in your feelings too much about things. Instead of looking at things logically, you're too emotional about it. Okay. Now to change that, that's a whole video, but I start with reading. Okay. Try to look at it from this perspective. Try to let go of all the emotions you're holding on to. So I know she hasn't spoken in a minute, but that's sort of what I just wanted to give you guys a bit of background, because that is a relationship is about giving to the other person and they're giving to you. And you're literally in the service industry. Chris Rock said it the best in that Tambourine special. He said, you're in the service industry when you're in a relationship, you're giving to the other person. And sometimes you got to play the tambourine or some shit like that. But it was funny, but it's true. A lot of people don't think relationships are like that. And they are a giving thing, and people go in to take. And that's why they never have successful relationships, certain people. And to give properly, you need to be in a great emotional place. That's the bottom line. So you need to sit down with yourself, analyze yourself, be real with yourself, and have people around you. Sometimes it's a coach like myself, or maybe Courtney, whoever you want to talk to, whoever you vibe with and resonate with, and make sure that they're going to tell you the shit you need to hear. Like I said, tough love is a lot better, in my opinion, than soft bullshit, sunshine up your ass, right? Love
is like when you aren't official yet, when you aren't exclusive, and you're just in those beginning stages of getting to know someone. Maybe you guys are texting back and forth on the daily, or you're talking to her on the phone a couple times a week. Maybe you've been seeing her on the weekend. Things are maybe fresh and new. And once you know what these signs are, I think it's very obvious then to gauge kind of if that girl is seeing someone else. Again, here with the you're not seeing her thing, maybe you went on a couple of dates and she's just not talking to you as much. That could be because she is keeping her options open, keeping her schedule open, and she's seeing other people as well. And you aren't the only one that she's fitting into her schedule. Maybe, she wasn't sure how she felt about you, and so she decided to continue going out with other people. I mean, really, again, the situations here are endless, but I really want you guys to understand, if you are not seeing this girl, chances are she really either doesn't like you that much or she's seeing other people.
Yeah, like you're going to be low on the priority list. Like when you're first starting to see a girl, right? Like when I first started seeing my girl, it took like no time really for me, but That's because we gelled very well, her and I. But it did not take long until I had her full attention. It's almost like she'll sort of, especially if this girl has a lot of attention and she's really, really pretty, she's going to have her pick. Who is the most attractive guy, who's the strongest, who gives less of a fuck, right? And she's going to go, okay, the one who's going to be challenging her the most, the one who she can't really gauge, is the guy that she's going to want to go after, because she's like, okay, this is more exciting. And so, because some guys are just throwing themselves on a silver platter. And so when you're low priority, you're going to hear from her less. She's not going to want to talk to you much. She'll just be cold. She'll be standoffish. It's almost like you're invisible. Okay. But when when you're doing things right, she'll be blowing up your phone more and more and more as the days go on.
Because if she was into you, she would want to see you and hang out with you. And if you're noticing a change or fluctuation in that, of course, it could be because she's busy, 1 week and maybe not as busy the next. But
that's true. That is also true, fellas. I'm sorry I keep pausing this, but that's fucking true. Because a lot of guys get all butthurt. I've had coach students in my program that will go, holy shit, she's not answering me. What do I do? They're freaking out. And I'm like, bro, give it like another 6 hours. Maybe she's fucking busy and forgot to tell you. She doesn't, and again, this comes back to having a good emotional center. Because if you don't have one, you're going to start thinking of fucking the shit that happened to you. You're going to go, maybe she's out with this other guy. And you start freaking out for no reason. And that's why you have to work on healing and getting your emotional center, your waters calm. Okay. So you don't immediately freak out. You go logically she might just be hanging out with her fucking sister or her parents or whatever. Right? Or maybe she's at work. Maybe she stayed at work longer. Who knows? Not everyone is out there to be fucking hurting you. Okay? And it's going to seem that way with a lot of the content that you guys might be consuming, right? Because I cover a lot of red pill content, and some of it is like satire and funny. But a lot of it shines a light on the way modern dating is. Okay? And guys, when you watch that kind of content, it's going to seem a certain way. It's going to seem like women are the enemy or whatever. There are great women out there. There are. You just need to be able to have your shit together to attract a woman like that, right?
If you notice this kind of consecutively or consistently, or again, maybe she's even gotten to the point where she's ghosting you or really not even texting you or talking to you, that's kind of how you know she's seeing other people. If she says she's too busy to hang out with you, too busy to talk to you, again, keep in mind that too busy is really a non-existent thing when it comes to a girl who really genuinely likes you. If she likes you, she's going to want to talk to you. She's going to want to get to know you and spend time with you. Emphasis on spend time with you. Number 2 is that there's no progress. Maybe you've been seeing her for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months and you feel like the relationship is not progressing. Maybe you're not, again, like I mentioned before, seeing her all that much or even talking to her that much. If you feel like nothing is progressing or moving forward, of course, there could be the circumstances where she doesn't feel ready to take it to that next level, but it could also mean that she's not sure how she feels about you. She's keeping her options open. She's still seeing other people. And that's why nothing is moving further with you, because she still has other men in her life. Every situation and dynamic is, of course, very different here. I think it's important to note that when you're thinking about your specific situation. Some people are more private than others, and they won't just introduce you to their friends or their family or people that are close to them in their life until you've been seeing them for quite some time. If you feel like the relationship is not moving forward and you would like it to, it could definitely be because she is still seeing other people. And going a step further than this, another situation I've seen a lot is maybe you're really into her and you want things to move forward and you want to be exclusive, but she doesn't necessarily feel that way. Is she seeing you in secret? Does anyone in her life know that you exist? Sure, again, she could be a very private person, but if you've been seeing this girl for months and you haven't met anyone in her life, no one even knows you exist on the face of the earth, this could be a red flag and maybe a sign that she doesn't want to move forward with you. Again, it could be for other reasons as well, but also very well may be because she's still seeing other guys. Number 3, she's distant or says she wants space.
This is a big one right here, so let's pay close attention, fellas.
If nothing has happened and she all of a sudden starts to act really cold or distant with you and you haven't given her a reason to act that way, it could mean that she has developed a connection with someone else, or she's seeing other people and is forming a connection with them and is not feeling as strongly about you.
It's actually a pretty easy thing to see. Just fellas, think about it like this. You guys are maybe emotional right now, but you guys are logical, right? There are 2 things that a woman's going to do when she's really into you. Now, in the beginning, it's not going to be as bright or strong, these things, but either way, when a woman really likes you, she's going to be all over you. Okay. Like, it's going to be, again, like in the beginning, it won't be like that until a couple of weeks go by, sometimes 4 to 6, 8 weeks, give or take. And especially if you do everything right in those weeks. So if you're doing things wrong, sometimes it's going to take longer for her to fall for you, and sometimes it's faster than that. But she's going to be all over you like white on rice. She's going to be fucking texting you. What are you up to? What are you doing? How are you? Asking you questions. She'll be wanting to talk to you on the phone, sometimes call you, hang out with you in person. But when somebody's doing the exact opposite of that, you haven't heard from them at all. They don't give a fuck about anything that you're doing. That's how you can tell someone's not really. It's just those two things, right? And remember, it's not always gonna be in your face, but fellas, it's when again, this comes back to when an ex walks away, when a girl walks away from you. There's only two roads you take, right? Let her go, or you can chase. But we know what happens when you chase. So there's really only one road, right? If you want to do it right. If you walk away properly, you have a better chance of her going, maybe I fucked up. Okay.
One thing that is so common with modern dating nowadays is people being on dating apps, obviously, right? And they match with you, but they're still matching with a ton of other people. They're getting a bunch of messages. You guys know the drill. I've done multiple videos talking about how, dating apps are very swayed for women in comparison to men. And women get so many messages, so many matches. If you guys have just started talking and she's still active on the dating apps, she's probably still getting a ton of messages and matches from other guys.
That happened to me, fellas. Before the girl that I was with now, she was still on dating apps, and I didn't find out until after. But I found out probably like 6 or 7 months into it. And she lived like a bit of about an hour away. So she would come over for like extended periods of time. And I found out, and, it can go on for a long time before you even know. Right. And then as soon as I found that out, the relationship was over. Right. So I had to cut that shit off. But, yeah, guys, like and the thing is too, her behavior was pretty suspect. For like, it was like an up and down thing. So I couldn't really gauge it at first. It was hard for me to judge, because sometimes when and I think she was narcissistic or BPD. I think she was borderline personality disorder. That was my guess from the symptoms I saw, but I'm not going to diagnose her, but it was very much like a roller coaster of emotions. So it was hard for me to guess, because she was really hot, and not like physically, but like she was hot and then cold, right? Really into me and then really not into me, right? It's almost like she needed space for a while, and then she was like, oh my God, where are you, right? So it was hard for me to guess, and then I found out that stuff, and I was like, yo, this shit's fun. Because I really liked that girl. I really did, right? So, but I also had white knight syndrome going on at that time too. And then as soon as I found my current woman, okay, that's when everything really clicked for me, because I started dating a girl that had a head on her shoulders, because the girl before that was good too in that way, but I wasn't very attracted to her, right? I lost attraction to her, but I stayed with her for too long. So you have to find that middle ground. And sometimes, guys, just experience is what it is. Sometimes you just have to go through, a few women before you're like, okay, like I know what I'm looking for now. And that's the part of being young. If you guys are young and watching this, it's okay to be fucking this whole thing up, because you still have so much time. Fellas, you can be in your 40s and still find a fantastic woman. 50s even, 60s, it doesn't matter, right? I know that's not what you guys want. I know you guys want a family when you're young and you want to be youthful and raise your kids and shit. But guys, look, you have time, okay?
And attention from other guys as well. So do I agree with talking to a bunch of people at once? Absolutely not. I do think in the beginning it's okay to keep your options open. You're not married to a person that you just matched with on a dating app. And I think it's okay to keep your options a little bit open and not put all of your eggs in one basket necessarily when you're like just starting to talk to someone. But I do think it gets to a point where in order to progress your relationship with one person that you're really into, you have to cut the other people out. And you can't just see all these people and expect things to progress with all of them. It's kind of like The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. Like people get...
Yeah, and sometimes what... I want to go back just a sec, but I'm adding a lot to this because I really like what she's saying, and it's really sparking things in my brain. That's why I like these reactions, because it really gives me juice. But sometimes and especially in the modern dating world, guys, some of those girls are not going to get off of those dating apps at all. Just like I told you with the girl that I was dating before, she wouldn't get off the dating apps because she didn't. It came down to either I don't think she liked me as much as I thought she did. I think that was one of them. And the fact that she was insecure, right? She always wanted to keep an option open, because if she gave it all to me and I broke up with her, she wouldn't have anything. So that's another reason, right? So a lot of these women get attached to the attention that they get on dating apps and Instagram and shit like that. So watch out for that.
see all these people and expect things to progress with all of them. It's kind of like The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. Like, people get cut out for a reason. That show is silly in itself, and I hate to even use that as a comparison, but it's much easier to form a deeper connection with one person when not 10 other guys are involved, right? So if you notice that she's becoming distant all of a sudden, or maybe she even has ghosted you, and I think often when people ghost, it's because they moved on to something else, or they feel like they found something better. I don't mean to make you feel bad when I say that, but I think a lot of people have a hard time not constantly looking for better options or something that they feel like is better for them. But I know there are girls out there who aren't just like texting multiple guys all the time. So I don't want to scare you by saying that or make it seem like women are malicious. Of course, some of them are, and some of them are talking to more guys than others, but this is just something to be aware of. And that leads me into my next point here, number 4, which is that she makes you an option. She could be keeping her options open and is therefore making you an option instead of a priority. So how do you tell if she's making you an option instead of a priority? Are you the one that's always reaching out? Are you the only one that's trying to make plans? Is your time, effort, and energy not being reciprocated?
So, and I think she'll probably allude to this, or actually she kind of already has, but when a woman really likes you, it doesn't even matter. She just wants to be around you. You can be sitting. I watched a video, I think Darius M said this. He said, you could be sitting in the fucking corner of a dark ass room and she'll still want to hang out with you. He's not wrong. Okay. Every single girl that has been super, super into me, right? They're like, where are you? Let's just hang out. I don't care what we do. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, whatever. Right. And we'll go for a walk most of the time. Right. That was before. That was when I was young and like didn't drive and shit. But like now that I'm, fucking 32 years old, it's like, okay, I got, you have wheels, you can actually have proper dates, you have money, you have business, whatever. But like when you're younger, even guys, even when you're a little bit older, you guys can still go for a walk. You're grown ass adults, you can go for a walk around the neighborhood and shit like that. But like girls really just want to be around you when they like you. And the ones that actually demand that you go to a place to eat or whatever, and they're like, you don't want to take me to a restaurant, right? You don't want to be hanging out with those girls anyway. Genuine, cool women that are just about your energy is all you're looking for, right? If a girl's like, I just want to be around you, and she doesn't even care, that's when you're like, let's go on a proper date eventually, right? I would say when you first meet a girl, before you take her on a date where you're spending a whole bunch of money and shit, I would give it like 1 to 2 times where you see her, right? Just gauge her, see where she's at, what kind of woman she's like. How's your conversation so far? Does she demand anything from you? Right? In terms of like, oh, let's go on a real date. Well, you didn't bring me on a real date, right? I did that with my current woman because the girl before fucked me over, right? By being on the dating apps and shit. So I was like, when I first met her and we're getting to like, kind of like know each other and set up time to see each other. I was like, hey, like I want to be honest with you. Like, I just want to get to know you a little bit before I start taking you to places to spend money, cause I like you, but I've been through some stuff before with other people and I didn't go into it. That's a mistake, right? Don't go into what you've been through and the hurt. Oh my God, I'm so hurt, right? You just, I've been through some shit and, I just want to get to know you before and just put a positive spin on it. And that's exactly what I did. I learned that from Corey Wayne. And that is what happened. And I have a very successful relationship now, right? So, and I've been with her for, it'll be 8 years this year, at the end of this year. So, guys, it can happen just like that. And if I was in a terrible emotional place, I still had some things to heal and get through in the beginning of my current relationship, but it was just a constant work. And once I really started really reading and absorbing this stuff, fuck, everything changed for me, guys. Everything. And I started teaching it, of course. And that's when everything really fucking started to snowball, because when you start teaching it, then you really know your shit, right?
If so, she's probably not all in with you. I've done a video about signs that she's serious about you, and a lot of the signs include her reaching out to you, her following through with plans and wanting to actually make plans with you, or reciprocating the time, effort, and energy that you're putting in. If those things aren't happening, she's making you an option. If you feel like someone's making you an option, it's probably because you are one to them. And last on my list, number 5, you feel confused. My rule of thumb is that if you are confused about where you stand with someone, that is normally not a good sign. It could mean that this person is just really not good at communicating with you, which is a red flag. It could mean that this person is making you an option instead of a priority, which is not a good sign. It could mean that this person is seeing other people, and if you're not in that same boat and you want to just be exclusive with this person, that's not a good sign either. I really want you to remember here that actions speak louder than words. I say this so much on my channel because if I could go back and tell my younger self a few things, this would be one of them. I always tried to see the good in people. I always tried to see what I wanted things to be instead of what they actually were, and I would have saved myself so much heartache and wasted time by just seeing what was right in front of me instead of what I wanted it to be, and really genuinely watching people's actions instead of their words. And
that's fire. Like, dude, watching somebody's actions versus their words, and stop looking for the fantasy. Okay? Or stop seeing the fantasy. See reality. I see guys do this all the fucking time. Every time, almost, I'm not going to say all my students, a good portion of them, 60%, maybe 70%. They're looking for the fantasy. They're like, how do I get this dream back that I had? All these plans that we made. And it's like, they're like, see, in a man's mind, we have the whole investment idea, right? We've invested energy, money, time, kids, like you've created kids. What else? You've done a bunch of shit you don't want to do to please her and make her happy. Like there's all this shit that you've done and you're like, I don't want to just throw all that away. And then guys are so confused by by women's ability to do that. They're like, oh, how can she just throw all that away? Right? Because he's not willing to. And she's like, I am. He's like, I don't understand. Right? And so guys have to get out of that mindset and just understand that to them, it doesn't really matter. Right? Those memories do matter to them, but their emotions matter first. And they're going to go, you know what? I'm just not happy, and I'm going to go where I'm happy. So in a sense, you can learn a little bit from them that way, right? In the idea of stop looking at the fantasy, stop trying to get the fantasy back in, and look at somebody's actions before their words, and you can go, okay, like this person clearly isn't into me anymore, okay? And I should just start moving on with my life and start focusing on my dreams and my goals again. And here's the thing. So I'm going to be fucking straight up with you guys. A lot of my students are complacent. They're like, Kyle, I've lost 50 pounds. Kyle, I've lost 20 pounds. I started working on my business again. I started doing this again. I started hanging out with my friends again. I'm like, and like, of course, I'm not going to say this to them in the coaching calls, right? Because I've come to the conclusion that it's either complacency or insecurity that has caused you to break up, or both, right? And I'm like, why did you stop? Right? And most of the time it's because guys become pleasers. I don't want to make her upset. Oh. Right? And if you ever get yourself into a relationship and you become that guy, she's going to fuck someone else or dump you. Because as soon as you start living your relationship to please her versus, okay, like sometimes you compromise, right? There are some times where I want to come here and shoot videos and just fucking work all day. But my girl will be like, hey, like I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, bro. Right? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? All right. And then what I'll do is I'll go and spend a day or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever I decide, right, with her. And sometimes even when we're at the house or whatever, I'll fuck off for like an hour or two in another room and just do a little bit of Telegram stuff with you guys, some of my students, right? So it depends. And you just have to know, you have to know that compromise. Okay.
What was right in front of me instead of what I wanted it to be, and really genuinely watching people's actions instead of their words and what they said they were going to do. Sure, this girl might be keeping you at an arm's length to use you for attention or when she's bored or be a little texting pen pal buddy, but she has no intention of moving things forward with you, being exclusive with you, or seeing you in person. So really be able to see things for what they are. Again, if you know these signs, I think it's often easier to see them. Of course, just because they're doing all the things on this list doesn't necessarily 100% mean that they're seeing other people, but I think if she's genuinely doing anything on this list, it means that she's not making you a priority and she's really not that into you anyways. I know dating is tough. I'm not trying to make it seem like all women are malicious and out there dating a bunch of people all at once, because I know I was most certainly not that way at all, and I know so many people who also aren't. But the more you know, knowledge is power. If you're able to see the signs and know what they are at least, hopefully you'll be able to save yourself from heartache and wasted time. So if you like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well.
So I'm going to make sure that this video is posted in the description box so you guys can go watch it in case you don't want the interruptions and my talking and shit. But guys, at the end of the day, are you a priority or are you an option? And if she's treating you like a priority, you're going to fucking know it. Truth be told, you're going to know it. You're going to know because she's going to be showing you. She's going to be wanting to be around you. And a lot of you guys are trying to turn women that aren't that into you, right? Instead of just going out with women who are like, I really, really, really like you. And you're like, okay, cool. And then here, I've actually come across some of my students that are like, I'm not, she's like, she's super into me and she's super hot, but I'm not really interested because she's like super interested in me. It's a lot of young guys that are like that. I'm like, bro, I understand that you're looking for excitement and shit like that, but like, when you find a good woman, you have to decide if you want to hold on to her, right? You know, you got to be attracted to the woman, right? But you got to decide if you want to hold on or just let go and just be, you know, be single and go out and date a bunch of girls. A lot of guys that I do coaching with, not a lot, like some, right? They get into that mindset and they're like, oh, this girl really likes me, but I don't really like her that much. She's hot, but, you know, and they go into like these excuses. And sometimes guys want that challenge too. So anyway, I've been ranting a lot in this video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe and all that shit. Go check out Courtney if you somehow came across this video before her. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Done.